Welcome to week 2 of Bible Studies for Life. Today we're in Numbers chapter 27. We're still in this series. We just started last week here in the summer of 23, doing this thing about mentors and those people that can pour life into us that we need to hear from, and kind of how all that works, different relationships. Today we're looking at Moses to Joshua. So last week was Jethro to Moses. This week is Moses to Joshua. So looking forward to that. Before we look at this passage, be sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, share. If you've got questions, put those in the comments and we'll do our best to answer those. If you want to give to help support our ministry, go to this website here at give.exposedtochrist.com and you can give there. It's a tax-deductible gift, so we appreciate it if you do that. But let's dive into Numbers 27. It says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, Go up this mountain of the Abiram range and see the land that I have given the Israelites. After you've seen it, you will also be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother was. When the community quarreled in the wilderness of Zin, both of you rebelled against my command to demonstrate my holiness in their sight at the waters. Those were the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin." Well, getting near the end of the book of Numbers, and it's not a good sign for Moses. It's not a good day in a sense, because he's being told, right, I want you to go up on the mountain and you're going to see the land that I have given the Israelites. That's a good day, right? We're going to go up and you're going to look over the Jordan River. You're going to see the promised land, right? And he says, after you've seen it, you will be gathered to your people. Well, we know what this means, don't we? This means you're going to die. Your time has come. The end of your life is here. Now, Moses is somewhere around 120 years old, so he's probably ready, right? He's probably ready. You see Moses' life kind of divided up into 3 parts. The first 40 years of his life in Egypt, and then he fled. And then the next 40 years of his life is the shepherd in Midian to Jethro and marries Zipporah. And then the next 40 years of his life is bringing the Israelites out of Egypt and the wandering that takes place in the wilderness. Okay, so here they're at the end. He's at the end of his life, and here they are about to go over into the promised land. And he says, you're going to see it, but he tells them, you're not going to get there because you rebelled. There was this time when he was told specific way to bring the water out of the rock. He used another way, wasn't right. He got punished for that, right? It was a show of his own. It was towards him and not towards the Lord. He wasn't giving glory to the Lord, so he's not allowed in. That was a whole other lesson. We talked about that before. Okay, we're in Numbers 27:15 now. So Moses appealed to the Lord. "May the Lord, the God who gives breath to all, appoint a man over the community who will go out before them and come back in before them, and who will bring them out and bring them in, so that the Lord's community won't be like sheep without a shepherd." So Moses prays to the Lord. He knows this. He has accepted this, and he's ready, right? The end of his life is here. And his deal is, Lord, appoint a man over the community. They need someone. They need a shepherd, right? We don't want them to be like sheep without a shepherd. They need a leader. They need someone that goes in and comes out, that communes with you, that talks with you. They need someone to hear from. They need someone to lead them in the promised land. They can't just be turned loose. Well, the Lord knows that, right? But I love this Moses' prayers that they need somebody this needs to be turned over to the next person. So the Lord replied to Moses, "Take Joshua the son of Nun, a man who has the Spirit in him, and lay your hands on him, and have him stand before the priest Eleazar and the whole community, and commission him in their sight. Confer some of your authority on him, so that the entire Israelite community will listen." Confer your authority, right? The Lord's already picked Joshua. The Spirit's already on Joshua, right? So this man is... this prayer that Moses has uttered is a prayer the Lord is ready to answer, because the Lord has already started answering it way before Moses ever prayed it, which is very often the case in our lives. When we finally get to a place where we pray the thing that is in God's will, God is ready to answer it, because he's already been at work trying to bring about his will as it is, right? So it's going to be Joshua, the son of Nun. That's the old joke about how Joshua had no parents, because he was the son of Nun. Okay, a man who has the Spirit in him, and lay your hands on him. So I want you to see what's going to happen. He says, lay your hands on him, have him stand before the priest and the whole community, and commission him in their sight. Confer some of your authority on him so that they will obey him. The Lord is telling Moses, you need to have a public service, a public ceremony where Joshua comes and stands before everybody, and you lay your hands on him, you confer some of your authority on him, you commission him to be their leader in their sight so that they see that you have passed this on, which is not Moses passing it on so much as it is the Lord passing it on to Joshua. And they need to see this. It needs to be a public deal so everybody knows who the leader is, because we don't want to have this war among the Israelites about who their leader is. They need a shepherd. The Lord knows they need a shepherd, and they need to know clearly who the shepherd is. And it must be this guy Joshua, because he's the one God has called. And so he says, have a public ceremony, have a public service. There's so much value in this and passing on leadership, to do it publicly, to have ways of showing that. There's it's what happens in a church. Now this laying on of hands happens in churches all the time now when we ordain people to ministry or to deacon service. Sometimes we'll lay on hands when someone is called to pastor a church, to a new ministry. It's a ceremonial way of conferring on them some a commissioning, a clear view that we see God's hand on them. And that metaphor, right, of God's hand on them, we lay our hands on them to recognize this, acknowledge this before the Lord, and to make it known before other people. So that's what he's telling him. You've got to have this public ceremony where you do this. So important. Joshua needs this. He's already got the Spirit in him, right? He needs this to validate the place that God has called him to, and he needs Moses imprimatur on him as much as he needs the Lord's, because Moses is the unquestioned leader of the Israelites over the last 40 years, and you know that in any group there are always those who think they ought to be the leader instead of the one the Lord has called to be the leader. And so there is this very clear laying out that he is the man. Now look at this. He says about Joshua, he will stand before the priest Eleazar, who will consult the Lord for him with the decision of the Urim. Now, I just want you to notice this, okay? This is a little bit different. Here's Moses having this conversation with the Lord, but he's telling him the priest is going to have this conversation on Joshua's behalf. So there's a little bit of a difference in the relationship, right? He and all the Israelites with him, even the entire community, will go out and come back in at his command. Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua. He had him stand before the priest and the entire community. He laid his hands on him. He commissioned him as the Lord had spoken through Moses. Joshua was not the same person as Moses. He didn't have the same position as Moses. He didn't have the same job as Moses. He didn't have all of the same relationship as Moses had. It was different. There was a change taking place here. And yet, Moses very publicly makes clear that it's known that while Joshua will go to the priest and the priest will go to the Lord for him, Joshua is the one who will tell you when to go out and come back, right? He is the leader, and he is making this very public before everybody. This guy is the leader, and how important that is for the Israelites, because they need a leader. This is true in every group of people. We need leaders, and I believe in servant leadership, but my own personal idea here is that the way a leader serves their community, serves the group they're over, is by leading them. You're not a service to them if you stand to the side and let other people take charge. That is your role. That's how you are to serve that group, by giving them leadership. And this is what Joshua has been called to do by God, to give them leadership. He's been given this place, and man, talk about a tenure to follow. How would you like to be the guy following after Moses? Right? This is a tough, tough deal. So he needs as good a start as he can get. And this right here is as good a start as he's going to get. That he stands up in front of the entire community and the priests and everybody else, and Moses lays his hands on him and says, "This is the guy. He's going to be your leader." What a tremendous blessing from Moses to Joshua. A great blessing. How important it is that we have leaders who will bless the next generation of leaders and put their blessing on them, and how important it is that this next generation are men and women who are worthy of taking roles in leadership in all different areas. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope that's helped. God bless you as you do teach and as you study. Be sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, share with others. If you've got questions, put those in the comments below. We'll answer those as best we can. And thanks for watching. We will see you next time.